Of all the 17,000-plus islands that comprise Indonesia's massive archipelago, Bali receives the most international visitors every year. There's never a shortage of fresh targets, which means the scammers don't really have to be too creative. Many of the scams in Bali are the same old tried and tested tourist traps you'll see all over the world. And that's actually good news. Knowing about a few of the most common scams you can encounter in Bali might save you some money and frustrations. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our latest and greatest uploads. Remember, we travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at common scams in Bali. Let's get started. Currency exchange and ATMs. Signs for official money changers line the road of Kuta, Legian, and other popular tourist areas in Bali. Many boast no commission or fees. We've only changed money once in Bali and had no trouble at all. Actually, you'll probably get more out of your $50 than you thought you would. But many have reported that the staff at these places will pocket some of your money, often by distracting you after they've counted your cash. Or they may count money in front of you but still manage to drop a $50,000 bill behind the desk without you noticing. So if you have to use a money changer, remember to inspect and count the cash you're given before walking away. We would advise you to withdraw cash from an ATM, although they aren't always safe either. ATM skimming is one of the most common scams in Bali these days. Check your bank account every time you've made a withdrawal and continue monitoring it throughout your trip. We would recommend withdrawing around 5 million when you arrive at the airport, because that's one of the safest ATMs to use. Most ATMs in Bali dispense denominations of 100,000, and some will give 50,000 rupiah bills. And each transaction usually has a limit of 1.5 or 2.5 million. So get half 100,000 and 50,000 as the smaller bills are easier to use at warungs and street vendors, etc. While the 100,000 is good for paying hotels and drivers. Fake Bluebird taxis. Taxi drivers in Southeast Asia don't really have the best reputation. They've mastered the art of hustling tourists, and the drivers in Bali are no exception. The most trustworthy company on the island is Bluebird Taxi Group. Their drivers clearly display identification cards and usually turn on the meters without being asked to. They often dress nicely in a blue patterned shirt with the Bluebird logo on it. And if you don't want to hail a taxi on the street, you can download the official Bluebird app, which works much like Uber. The many less reputable taxi companies know about Bluebird's good reputation. Some attempt to mimic Bluebird to fool tourists. Most of the taxis in Bali are painted in a light blue color now, and some even have Bluebird Group stickers on their windshield and taxi signs. They aren't the real deal, but that doesn't mean they can't be trustworthy. Regardless of the taxi company you use, make sure the driver is willing to put on the meter before you get in the car. Be aware that some may have altered their meters to run faster, so keep your eye on it. Alternatively, you can agree on a fair price before you go so you don't have to worry about the meter at all. Rideshare drivers overcharging. Ride-sharing services such as Gojek and Grab are Southeast Asia's answer to Uber. They are technically forbidden in many places such as Ubud and Uluwatu, which is super annoying because it is the most affordable transportation option if you don't want to drive on your own. Unfortunately, not all the drivers are honest. Unlike Uber, you'll be paying the driver in cash if you don't have an Indonesian bank account. And because of that, many drivers have taken it upon themselves to set their own prices, sometimes double or even triple what you were quoted in the app. After waiting for the assigned driver, some tourists just opt to pay the extra fee to avoid any conflict, which of course keeps the scam alive. The best thing you can do is to mention the amount you've been quoted in the app before getting in the car or on the scooter, just to make sure you and your driver are on the same page. And if you're happy with your ride or delivery, remember to give them a little tip. We actually think their services are too affordable sometimes, so try to tip if everything goes smoothly. Corrupt police officers. Unfortunately, not everyone who wears a uniform can be trusted. In Bali, many police officers are looking at tourists as a way of earning some quick cash. They often target tourists on scooters and will stop you for any minor violation. There is especially one intersection to avoid whenever you can, and that's where JL Petipengget meets JL Batu Beleg. There might be other police hotspots as well, but every time you drive past this spot, you'll see at least 1 or 2 tourists being pulled over and asked to park their scooter to have a conversation with the police. The police in Bali strictly enforce a helmet policy, which is a good thing as you should always be wearing one anyway. But the helmet needs to have an SNI sticker, which means it's certified according to Indonesian standards. They will often ask for an international driver's license, which should be available for around $20 to $30 in your home country. However, if the driver's license doesn't have a Bahasa Indonesian translation, they'll most likely tell you it isn't valid. You can either pay a small fine up front, you can probably guess where the money goes, or follow them to a police station where you most likely will have to pay more. We'd recommend keeping 50,000 or 100,000, $3 to $7 in your pocket or somewhere easily accessible, and then the rest of your money at the bottom of your bag or in the scooter seat. If you don't keep your money separate and take out your wallets, they will most likely grab it and go through it to see what you've got before they decide on a suitable fee. When you go for longer rides, try to wear pants and a sweater and tuck your hair in just so you don't look like a typical tourist. Scooter rentals. Riding a scooter or motorbike is one of our absolute favorite things to do in Indonesia. Zipping around on the back roads, feeling the sun on your face and wind blow through your hair is the ultimate feeling of freedom. But renting a scooter isn't always as straightforward as it might seem. Scooter rental scams are a problem throughout Southeast Asia, and they occur frequently in Bali and the neighboring islands as well. Wherever you go, locals will ask if you need a motorbike. These informal street rentals can potentially result in a very expensive experience if you're not careful. Some scammers may blame you for pre-existing scratches or damage and demand that you pay for the repairs. We've also heard of a few situations where the owner has used the spare key to steal back the motorbike, leaving you to pay for a replacement. The safest option is to rent a scooter through your accommodation when possible or from an official rental place. It's easiest that way because you'll always know where to go and who to talk to if something happens. Closed attractions and entrance fees. Like so many tourist sites and attractions around the world, Bali's most popular spots are often overrun with people hoping to make a quick buck. The closed attraction tourist trap is one of the most common scams in Bali and throughout Southeast Asia. Sometimes scammers wait on the side of the road close to temples and other tourist attractions and ask you to pay an entrance fee without actually being associated with the place in any way. Always continue to see if there's an official ticket window before you pay anyone. Almost every attraction in Bali will have some sort of ticket booth close to the entrance where you pay the entrance fee and get a stamp or ticket. Other times, someone will rush over to you to tell you that the temple is closed when it isn't, and then offer to take you somewhere else, either to earn some money by driving you or they might receive a commission from the place they bring you to. All of the temples in Bali require both men and women to cover their legs. The key to avoiding a lot of these scams is to just keep on walking and make sure you seem confident. Just smile and say no thank you to the people who approach you. And always go and check if a place really is closed before you go somewhere else. With that, we've reached the end of this video all about common scams in Bali. Which of the scams on today's list are you glad you're aware of? Are any of you planning a trip to Bali? Get involved and let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this one and found it interesting, remember to leave a like on the video so we know to make more for you.